The CUNY School of Labor and Urban Studies, the university's newest school, presents the Joseph S. Murphy Scholarship for Diversity in Labor. Now, a discussion on this unique and prestigious scholarship for women and students of color.
Thank you for joining us for the first ever video podcast for the CUNY School of Labor and Urban Studies. You have joined us on a very auspicious show. We're here to tell you about a very important scholarship, but really very honored to be doing what I believe is the first ever broadcast, podcast, any kind of video production for the new CUNY School of Labor and Urban Studies. My name is Rose Imperato, and I am the project coordinator, special project coordinator for the new CUNY School of Labor and Urban Studies, which we can call SLU for School of Labor and Urban Studies. So you'll hear us say SLU a few times in this discussion, formerly the Murphy Institute for Worker Education and Labor Studies. And I should say, before I introduce the two wonderful women sitting here with me at this table, that the new SLU is the 7th and newest school at CUNY. I don't know, maybe we can applaud for that. That is kind of special. So you are here at a very wonderful time tuning into this program. We're here to talk about the Joseph S. Murphy Scholarship for Diversity in Labor. And with us in the studio are Dr. Janet Leslie, who is the Diversity Scholarship Coordinator. She's also a professor at Kingsborough Community College. She's been my wonderful colleague for over 5 years. And Stacey Payton. Stacey is a graduate of the Diversity Scholarship Program, and we're thrilled to hear from her today. Actually, I'm going to make sure that Dr. Leslie, Janet, and Stacey Payton do all the talking. I'm just going to help guide this. And maybe there'll be more of these. Maybe not necessarily talking exclusively about the Diversity Scholarship, but to students who have come through the program, to our faculty. We hope you will tune in often to CUNY for a variety of different shows, but especially stay tuned for really exciting things coming out of SLU, the School of Labor and Urban Studies. We just opened our doors as the School of Labor and Urban Studies fall 2018. So we're the new kids on the block, but we're really old school because the Murphy Institute has been around for almost 35 years. And we'll talk a little bit more about that and how that transition has come about. But first, I guess I want to say hi to Janet, my wonderful colleague.
Hi.
And maybe you can just sort of introduce our listeners, our viewers, because this is a video podcast, to the Diversity Scholarship by talking about, I guess, how you ended up becoming its coordinator, because I think it's an amazing story. Really. I mean, and she's a CUNY success story. Maybe give us that, too, the lead up to Janet.
Okay.
Janet in the seat, leading up to how you became the scholarship coordinator.
Okay, so yes, I am CUNY through and through. I am a graduate of CUNY. I came through CUNY's a BA program at Brooklyn College, BA in sociology from Brooklyn College, and was inspired to continue. And I went on to Baruch and finished my master's degree at Baruch in higher education administration, because at the time I was also working at Kingsborough Community College in an administrative capacity. And after finishing my master's at Baruch, I went on to the University of Maryland University College and completed a doctorate in community college policy and administration, and just have always been steeped in this sector, in the educational post-secondary sector. And interestingly enough, I've just always had an interest in, walking alongside students, specifically students of color, on their path, on their journey. And because I was inspired by so many people on my own, my path, so many people who helped me. And early on, I always had a deep, deep interest in mentoring students and advocating for students and encouraging students, much in the same way those around me encouraged me. And so even when I went and I completed my dissertation, actually the topic of my dissertation is entitled Topologies in Mentoring Underrepresented Students, the Intersection of Completion.
And you wouldn't think that would lead her to the Diversity Scholarship, but it did.
But it did, because I just had this notion that this was something that I wanted to do. And I guess they say, you have to be intentional about what you do. You have to put it out there. You have to say it. You have to do it. So I printed it on a card. So I printed these business cards years ago. And on the business card, it said what I wanted to do was mentor students on a post-secondary track. And I wanted to, help them identify funding and scholarship and la, 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 la.
That was kind of psychic to put down on a business card years before you even knew about the scholarship.
I knew about the School of Labor and Urban Studies. Okay, and so here along, after I finished my full-time administrative responsibilities at Kingsborough, and I quote unquote retired, here came this opportunity to work with students in this wonderful Joseph S. Murphy Scholarship for Diversity in Labor program. And we were able to craft this experience around what I wanted to do, my labor of love, identifying students on the path, assisting them with the finances, and then providing them counseling and advising and mentoring. So here I am working toward identifying the 6th cohort of students.
And if some of the viewers and listeners are wondering, why is there an entire program dedicated to a scholarship, right? Because there are millions of scholarships around the country. This scholarship is unique.
Yes.
It's listed as a prestigious scholarship within the CUNY system. So already right there, that's something. It's significant. It offers up to $30,000 for students to get their master's degree, up to $20,000 to finish their bachelor's. But this scholarship promotes diversity and leadership and excellence. And it has an unbelievable mission. And then we'll turn to Stacey here to talk about why she decided to apply for the scholarship and how she heard about it. This scholarship is trying to do something. I won't say it's trying to change the world, but it's actually one of these things that has a vision to it to change the future. Meaning that if you want to change the face of labor, if you want labor leadership to be diverse as the rank and file membership, we know that's not the case right now. Well, how do you do it? Yeah, it's all fine and good to say, yes, we'd like to get degrees into young students of color into their hands to make sure that they can become leaders with their credentials. But this actually puts the bucks behind it. This is somehow more meaningful to say to you, look, we know you're already a leader. You're already working hard in your community for your unions, doing social justice activism, whatever it might be in your life, making a difference. And now we're asking you to go back to school, get your degree. We know you need support. We, as Janet said, walking alongside you, making sure somebody's got your back. And this scholarship is designed to do that. And it's named after our former chancellor at CUNY, Joseph Murphy, because he was a real champion of workers and working people, and to make sure that they got their credentials and to provide support for working people. So this is a unique scholarship. The deadline to apply for next year's scholarship is February 19. We'll say that a few times during this program, so you ladies feel free to reiterate that if I forget. Stacey, this scholarship came along in your life. You were already doing a lot. You could tell folks a little bit about where you were at. She's an active member in her union, District Council 37, DC 37. She works for the New York State Homes and Renewals.
Homes and Community Renewal.
Community Renewal. And she's always been active in her union, in her family, in her community. She is a leader. Absolutely. And then this scholarship comes along. Tell us a little bit about that.
So I, too, am a graduate of CUNY. I graduated from City College. Way back in 1989, and I took a job with the state, New York State. At the time, it was called Division of Housing and Community Renewal, but I became a member of DC 37, Local 1359, shout out.
All right.
And the uniqueness about our local is we are the only executive branch of employees that work for the state of New York.
Meaning,
we are represented by, DC 37 is the largest municipal union in the United States, representing 125,000 public sector employees and 50,000 retirees.
And growing. I believe
growing,
that
yes.
it's growing, yeah.
But my specific local, we are about 300 employees, and we solely work for New York State. So with that, we negotiate our contracts. We sit across the table from GOA, the Governor's Office of Employee Relations. But with that said, I took a job with the state. I became a member in DC 37, and one day someone invited me to a union meeting, which kind of got this whole path on my way toward labor and what it can do. And about after serving my second term as recording secretary, I wanted to learn more. I wanted to find out what is labor's story. And District Council 37 offers a course through the Cornell Labor Certificate Program, which I applied to, was accepted in, and it was in my final semester that I received an email from Joseph from the Murphy Institute, as a matter of fact, Lori Kellogg,
about the scholarship.
No, not just the scholarship, just an open house to come. So I always tell this story. April 8th, 2015, I walked through the Murphy Institute for the very first time. I'm listening to the open house, they're talking about the different programs. I know I want to apply, but I know, having 2 kids in college, I didn't have money to pay for myself for school. And Dr. Leslie tapped me on the shoulder, and she introduced herself, and she said, "Are you planning on applying for the Joseph S. Murphy Scholarship?" And I'm looking at her like, "What is that?" And she says, "Here's my card," and she gave me the information. And then I said to her, "Well, when's the deadline?" And at that time, so don't get confused with the dates, people, at that time, the deadline was April 28th. 2015. So when we repeat your February 19th, I don't want people to get
deadline is February 19th.
The current
yes.
deadline is February 19th. But that time, it was April 28th. I had 20 days, and I had this forlorn look on my face, like, how am I going to get this done? And she said, "We can do this." And with her mentorship, and directive, and follow. I had to apply to the program, which I was, I got accepted, and then when I got the scholarship, I was able to breathe a breath of fresh air. It was, I had never received a scholarship in my life. I never won anything. It was almost like hitting the lottery, educational lottery, and moving forward, I have been able to do so many different things. But that scholarship helped not only me, but it also helped my family. I had 2 daughters in college. One was studying abroad, and it gave credence to where extra money was needed to buy books and get to class and do research into things that I needed. I was able to buy a computer, something I hadn't been able to do in a million years. So the scholarship changed my life.
Wow. Well, I want to hear a little bit more about you, Stacey, but I have to say you mentioned a very important date, which is the open houses that happen at the new CUNY School of Labor and Urban Studies. It's how you learn about the programs that we offer. It's how you meet people like Dr. Janet Leslie. You meet other students that come and speak. And this will put a little pressure on the CUNY TV and radio studios to air this program in a timely fashion, because the open house is January 16th. So we're hoping that people will come by SLU, 25 West 43rd Street on January 16th in order to hear more. Because after this program, I'm sure you will just think to yourself, ding, 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 either myself or I know somebody that really should apply. And I turn it back to both of you for this next question, which is, and Stacey brought it up, she went to a union meeting to hear something about labor. Somebody mentioned something to you on the job, and it brought some questions to mind. What about labor? Well, what about labor? A lot of people don't know about the labor movement. We were talking before we started recording today, I'm not sure when this will air, that the labor movement, maybe for young people, is something a little esoteric. It's a little out there. Maybe they've heard about it through movies or something in history, but it's really at the center of everything right now. Worker movements, the changing state of the workforce, the changing state of work itself. So people getting a labor studies degree. In fact, I have this wonderful flyer. Janet walks around with these flyers. This is our MA in Labor Studies, which is the degree that you would get. One of the degrees. You could get a BA also, but the MA in Labor Studies is where most of our diversity scholarship students have headed. And to get a degree in labor studies might sound that it's peripheral, but Stacey got interested when she walked into that meeting. Janet, you talk to students all the time about this, about getting a degree. Let's open it up to both of you. I don't know who wants to answer that question first about labor and its importance.
Well, for me, one of the things that I found important was learning the history of labor, right? Because without our knowledge and understanding of what we've been through, we continue to repeat the same mistakes over and over and over again, or even employers can pull the same wool over our eyes. It's, oh, we'll pay you more. Don't worry about your colleagues. We'll just take care of you because you're more important to us. But when you have a union and you have collective bargaining, they have to understand, employees know that they can't single us out, that we're in this together. And it's almost like the community, the work community, and we all pull together, we all stand together, so they can't knock us down one at a time, and having that understanding about labor history is one of the things, the core things that's really important for young people to know. I as much as I appreciate having the master's, I wish labor was taught in high schools, and if there was anything I could do, I would make it my mission to see that the progress and the understanding about labor is back in the classrooms in the early ages, because kids don't understand. They don't appreciate when their parents are up at 6 a.m. going to a job, but their job is protected. And they can't just get fired because the boss says, I don't like the color of your shoes today, And these are things that they don't get the connection.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and yes. So learning the courses that you were able to take as a result of enrolling in the program, all very important, both to, in terms of the practical information that you were able to receive, but also I wanted to share, because I am, yes, as a diversity coordinator, and pushing the MALS, the Master's in Labor Studies, but I also want the listeners to be aware of the fact that students can earn a bachelor's degree in urban and community studies. And that's also very important, because we have students that come from diverse backgrounds, ethnicities, diverse, the gender in terms of their heritage. And it's a national scholarship. That's the other thing we want to emphasize, that it's not just a local New York State, New York City scholarship. This is a national scholarship. You mentioned, Rose, that it is among CUNY's prestigious scholarships. Mm-hmm. But many of the students that come to us and receive awards are first-time graduates. It's the first person in their family to attend college, and they come from different, geographic backgrounds. They have different levels of engagement as it relates to, labor and organizing. Some students are on a trajectory that they want to become, organizers. They want to become maybe they want to work toward being faculty. That's why they're registering for the Master in Labor Studies
Even political
program.
People.
Right.
Government workers, that kind of thing, social justice workers.
But I also want to talk about the scholarship itself and what it has to offer, because I don't think we were able to, let the listeners know that the scholarship does provide funding. It provides access to mentoring. It provides access to advising and counseling. And it provides funding up to $30,000 for the Master in Labor Studies, program, and up to $20,000 for the Bachelor's in Urban and Community Studies courses. So, it really is a well-rounded, fully developed program that does support the adult learner. We offer courses in the evening, so it fits the learner's lifestyle, and so we provide a whole array of support services to help move students to completion. Dare I say, and we haven't done any research on it yet. We are going to do some research on it. We're looking forward to doing that. In fact, I'm eagerly looking forward to doing research after we have brought our 6th cohort in, identified and enrolled them in for the fall 2019. But I'm looking forward to completing some research that can speak to our completion rate, because we've had so many graduates come through the program.
It's impressive.
Just like Stacey, and we've moved them out into the world to do good.
Yeah, and I can't echo enough Janet mentioning that this program gives students an entree into some amazing opportunity, not just with a faculty that I'll let Stacey talk about, that you will meet, the Bachelor in Urban Studies with a concentration in labor and the Labor Studies program. You get an opportunity to meet the mentoring opportunities that you have there, the networking
Absolutely.
opportunities. This is a life-changing opportunity. It really is. I love some of the things that are listed on the flyers here, that when you're in this program, you explore the changing nature of work, environmental sustainability, and globalization. Tell me that's not part of the key things that we are looking at as leaders in our community, as community activists, as family members. This is what we're dealing with right now.
If I may, I was thinking this morning, about this podcast and the things that I would say. So as the School of Labor and Urban Studies, I haven't gotten used to that yet because I graduated, from
As
Murphy
Institute,
right?
Sure.
But it has a direct effect on each of our lives, right? So whether you are in labor or, if, like you said, a community activist, when you walk into those doors, you're at home. That's the first place, and you have a sense of your responsibility to your education, but it also enables you to go back into your workplace community, your regular community, and put to use what you've learned. Having taken
Well said.
courses in arbitration, I have now sat in 3 contract negotiations with my union and the state, each time understanding better and not feeling intimidated to sit across from, and when we walk into a room, as I said, although we are a union of only 300, when we walk into a room, there are 20, 30 people in this room with one contract on the table and it's ours. And when they try and tell us, oh, on page 6, we're going to do that, I can, no. And these are things because I've sat
That
in,
you've learned.
Arbitration, I've taken contract negotiations, I've learned through labor law, the laws that have passed that are to our embedment. Just yesterday, a perfect example, I had a conversation, we're hiring new staff. And I had a conversation with my supervisor, and he wanted to put one of the new staff persons in a position that's out of their job title. And I said, you want to have a grievance before the person is even hired? And he looked at me like, and I said, read our contract.
How do you know about
how do you know that? Read our contract. The contract is hiring the person to do job A. You can't add B, C, and D to the job, thinking that it's okay because the person wants a job.
We are empowered when we are educated.
That's right. Education is knowledge.
That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
My nephew told me that a friend of his dropped out of college for a semester because he got this really great job. Well, yeah, but where is he going to be in the future when people present things like that to him on the job, and he doesn't have that experience, that knowledge to come back at them with additional information. And Janet, you talk, and I've heard you speak to students about this often, about getting your degree and why that's so important, and how for you having that doctorate and maybe what doors opened for you. And I don't know, we don't have a ton of time, but maybe
I don't want to talk about my doctorate because I have it and it's done. But let's talk about our illustrious alum here and what it's done for her. And so the program that you've recently been accepted to.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I have, because and everything is forward, right?
Yeah.
So because of my time at the new School of Labor and Urban Studies, that's going to take some time to marinate and get used to, because it will always be the Joseph S. Murphy School to me. But in any instance, I have recently been accepted to the Harvard Trade Union program.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I'm also a recipient of the William Lucy Scholarship. And mind you, I learned about William Lucy at the School of Labor and Urban Studies. Actually, I had the opportunity to meet him. And even being in this program, I've been able to attend the International Constitution when we were fighting the Constitutional Convention. Understanding these things, when you walk into one of these classrooms, the professors not only know their craft, they've lived their craft, and that's something that's quite different than what you might find in another.
And speaking of knowing their craft and living their craft, one of the services, one of the opportunities, I'll call it, one of the inspirations we provide for the diversity scholars, once we've identified them and they're enrolled, is the Scholar Symposium. So every semester, once a semester, at the beginning of the semester before they're inundated with work and life in school, we provide them with an opportunity to gather and kind of, meet the new scholars who are coming in with the new cohort, kind of take a deep breath and, talk about what they've experienced, those, the incumbent scholars, what they've experienced over the last semester, and kind of just like be one in this one moment. And in that one moment, that one opportunity that we provide each semester, call our Scholar Symposium, we also invite in guests who are themselves already, they finished their academic path and now they're on their professional path. And we invite them in simply to share with our scholars what it took for them to rise to the position that they're in. In the past, we've had a couple of different guests come in, including our own professor, Stephanie Luce, who's the academic director of the MALS program.
I don't want to cut you off. It just means you're going to have to create a part 2 for this program. But we have to wrap here and to thank everyone for joining us here.
Well, let's just repeat the deadline for the scholarship.
February 19th, get in your applications for next year, the 2019 Joseph S. Murphy Scholarship for Diversity in Labor through the CUNY School of Labor and Urban Studies. And you can call us at the CUNY School of Labor and Urban Studies. And thank you to Stacey Payton, our alumni, our graduate of that program, to Dr. Janet Leslie, our Diversity Scholarship Coordinator. My name is Rose Imperato. The open house is January 16th at 6 p.m. Thank you to CUNY TV.
Thank you.
Thank you.